Yo, here we go. Man United nil, Liverpool nil.
Yep.
Marcel, talk to me, man. How did we get a point out this game, man? What did Man United do?
I think basically Ten Hag changed the structure and how he usually plays. You know, in his language, he normally talks about turnovers and build up, and I think he did try to do the build up today. Even though the turnovers weren't there and how you usually implements them, having five, six committing 5 and 6 players, to the opposition's build up. Today it was more of a thing where the lines are all deep. The defensive lines right there next to the goalkeeper, the midfield lines right next to them, the forward lines right there. You're seeing Hoyland defend. He really it was a Jose Mourinho masterclass. It was really park the bus and create couple opportunities. I do think the passing patterns that we had when we were counter-attacking were a bit Ten Hag-y, like how he sets up things, how he creates space, how he tries to open up the pitch with the wide players. But the first thing was to defend today. Don't get beat heavily. Don't get beat badly. And the players kind of showed the commitment and the fight to produce that for me.
All right, so let's get into the negatives and positives.
Yeah.
What's some of the negatives about today's performance?
Well, in the context of, is this Ten Hag ball? No, it's not, and that's a negative. In the context of, are we going to attack the opponent? We talk about, what type of Manchester United are we now? We have to understand that we're not that Manchester United of old. People have already completed and gone past us in terms of trebles. They've already done that. They've overshadowed that. And at the end of the day, we're not being
100 and something charges.
Yeah, I hear that. But, Marina's also talked about heritage. Ralph's also talked about open heart surgery. So we're not no clean Champions League finalists.
Wow.
We're so far from that. And when you reevaluate what we are, it's against the top 4 and top 6. You're gonna have to be able to humble it and not go gun ho and attack. And Ten Hag's been doing that a lot of the time. In this process that we're in, it's about performance, not really results. And no matter what style of football Ten Hag tries to implement today, the counter-attacking style, let's see how they perform in that. Can you do diligent defending? Can you put?
But today's result, while I'm with you, today's result was important because we didn't care about. I would say for me, it was about the result today. I didn't want to get beaten 5-0, 6-0, 7-0.
Yeah, I agree with that as well to a degree, and I think that's when I kind of say, Ten Hag. We spoke earlier in the watch along that it's like Ten Hag's adapted. Normally he goes gun ho with these situations. Against Liverpool, we were going attack for attacking at 7-0. It was only until half time we capitulated. That's a mental thing. We've been talking about Manchester United's mental stability away from home for years now. So, these kind of things are just coming to fruition, and he's trying to adapt and show how he can still pull results from these kind of situations. And he's had to change his style of football. There was no turnovers today.
You would say, when you talk about his style of football, a lot of people said we haven't seen Ten Hag's style of football since he's got here. Some people argue that it's been Ollie-esque at times. We've heard it from big pundits, from like Gary Neville's, the likes of I don't know if Roy Keane has said anything about our style of football, but Gary Neville was one that's clean said we have to change.
So this season, I agree with you. Last season, it was more Ole style, and it was a 4-2-3-1 shape, similar to like today, and it was strict in that sense, and it was more of a mid block, not a low block like it was today. We fully respected Liverpool and said, we're going to be difficult to beat, but I do, and then we evolved from that. This season, the start of this season, when he gets in Onana, when he tries to get in new defenders, which the structure failed him in that regard. But once he tried to get new players in, he found 1-6-2-8, and we've been struggling in that realm right now. We can't seem to get the balance right in the midfield. Again,
I think we need 2 6s because today we saw 2 6s in KLOPP and Amrabat. Do you think that's a formula for some success going forward?
Yes, the 3-2-5 is what Ten Hag's playing the 3-1-6. He doesn't know the league, so his talent ID hasn't been brilliant. The players that he's brought in are his people. That understand his style. It's what you're gonna kind of need to do if you're trying to implement something completely different. We used to be a counter-attacker inside, KG. Now we're trying to play more possession or transitional ball. You need different types of footballers that understand that. Yes, you can coach players into that, but some of them clearly don't have all the holistic attributes like Scott McTominay. He only has certain key attributes, getting goals and running to the box. So in the midst of injuries and all these other problems, you're trying to utilize his strength. And you can see it within the situation within our club. He's the highest goal scorer. So Ten Hag just playing into certain things that are working for him right now and trying to adapt things clearly now, because before I never saw this from him. He was kind of very stubborn and ignorant in the way that he was implementing our team. We're going to see us get killed in rest defense again and again, week after week. If it's a rubbish team, we're getting killed in transition. If it's a good team, we're getting smoked in transition. But now he seemed to respect it and say, you know what, top 4, top 6, I'll sit back.
Yeah, and I think that's great lessons for him. But then, you're talking about the wing play and stuff, and talking about him being let down by the board. The players that he's brought in, though, man.
Yeah, shocking. I mean, Anthony, again today, another uninspiring performance. But I do want to say he's a player that scored big goals for us in big moments or against top teams. And maybe should have scored against Chelsea, but against City scored again. It was a poor result, and we were trying to attack them too much. And they've got a superior team to us, but he scored in that game against that opposition.
Talking about last season,
against Barcelona.
We gotta let that go. We gotta let that go. It's a new season, man.
I do hear
0 goals and assists.
I do hear that.
This season is poor.
I do understand that, and I'm not saying he's good because he delivered that. I'm saying he's got the potential to improve because he's delivered that against those opposition, and he's not been good this season. I don't think he's good enough. I think Ahmad comes in and surpasses him. But it's like, in terms of Ten Hag having his favourites, every manager has their favourites. And you can clearly see right now, he's put his hat on Anthony and said, listen, I'm going to keep playing you. Anthony had a situation as well, by the way. So just coming back into that as a player, as a person, is not easy as well. So we have to kind of put those two things together, I think.
Talk to me about Garnacho and KLOPP and some of just the youth and how you see this squad developing and stuff and what we need to do next. We've got West Ham, Aston Villa.
This is beautiful to see in terms of Ten Hag getting more youth players into the squad. I think this is him in his element more, but he's shown us that he can deal with big situations and big players. He's managed to get Varane to perform, even though and in a professional way. But to see KLOPP playing the way that he does, I'm worried about the knee injury. I don't know what's going there. They're strapping on the knee. But Garnacho was underwhelming today. But this was a step up, and in conditions where you're not going to see much of the football. We're playing Atletico Madrid kind of style football right now. So it's a thing where you're not going to see much of football, and when you get it, you have to be hot. You have to be on fire. But it was underwhelming, and it's a youth player. So you're not going to get consistency all the time from the likes of KLOPP and Garnacho. And even Pellistri today again looked a bit like not really there, but was giving us a little bit more than Rashi. So it made sense for him to come in and try and show something. But that also shows the level of the bench that Ten Hag has to really call upon as well.
Just quickly on Rashi as well, coming out the cold, been sick, been dropped. Do you see him really winning back that shot from Garnacho? Is this the best moment to get it back?
I wanted to see him up front. I know Fleck was saying it as well. We should have maybe utilised him up front in this game, but then that dynamic Hoyland running, like you mentioned, I don't think he gives that.
Never.
And I agree with you. So it's a thing where I'm glad that Ten Hag is Ten Haging right now for this particular match and gives us a point. So, but Rashi, I don't know. It's weird, Last season I was sending him messages saying, you need to be better. Oh, was it 2 seasons ago under Ole?
Yeah.
It was a thing where and he was in depression Rashford mode, and he's managed to fall back into that. But this man, if he gets into that purple patch, or if Ten Hag, this is big. This is one of Ten Hag's biggest tasks, to get Rashford into a 40-goal season man. He's coming into his prime now. I don't want him to end up like Marcel, where it's potential, and we don't ever see him like a man in the team. So it's got to get to a stage to him where he said it with Gary Neville, that he sees himself from the left wing, the angles that he can run and attack and the spaces that he can attack. I'm a 40-goal season man. So we need to come and see this. But, for this season, okay, we can give you one more purple patch. But it looks like you're going to get sold for 100 mil in 2 seasons if you don't show us that consistency level. And I think Ten Hag would do that. I think Ten Hag done the best thing.
I don't think you can get 100 mil with what he's performing like now. Absolutely not.
English tax?
No. I think 60, 70, 60, 60 if I'm lucky right now.
That's tight.
Yeah, 60 right now. Because look, he's not doing anything. No disrespect, he's talented, but I can't see big body for him at the moment. Anyway, listen, the next couple games, can we get a win?
Okay, so right now, West Ham, they're playing really good football. Do you play... My question...
I just need a yes or no, win or loss. Yes?
Yeah, I'm going to say draw.
All right, listen. See you later, man.